Hi,
Hey there. Hey Josh.
how are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, nice to virtually meet you.
Yeah, exactly. The feeling's mutual. So, Josh, you're from Cobourg REKO. So, um, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, your full name,
Sure,
and your role there at Cobourg REKO, and then I'll
sure.
introduce myself. Go ahead, get started.
Okay, yeah, I'm Joshua Noiseux, and I'm spokesperson for Cobourg REKO right now. I just joined
Yeah.
recently, and I'm also starting my own farm this year. Our first year in commercial production is called Evermeadow Farm.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
but yeah, it is cool. I'm really excited about it. But as far as REKO goes, Nadia Simard is a friend of mine, and she was the one who initiated REKO in this region, and in fact,
Yep.
I think in all of Canada. And so, speaking with her, she's been really quite busy with it, organizing the Cobourg REKO network, and additionally helping other people in the surrounding region get their REKO network started. So she's got a lot on her
Yep.
plate. She's also a full-time farmer and mother. So I've just kind of stepped in to help out and to help spread the word about the REKO network and the model that it offers, and also just to, yeah, help promote it a bit.
Awesome. Well, welcome. And for those of you that don't know me that are tuning in, I'm Jennifer Foley. I'm a local realtor, and I work in both the Durham region and the Northumberland area, mostly Oshawa, Bowmanville, Clarington, and then east from Northumberland and a bit into Quinte West as well. So, yeah, so I kind of got introduced to REKO first through the Bowmanville REKO, which is actually just getting started.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, then connected with you guys. And you guys have been running for a little bit. How long approximately have you guys been doing this?
Yeah, I
You
understand it's been running since last year. I'm not sure the exact start date, but it's been going for about a year. And
okay?
this was the pilot one. This was the initial one that Nadia set up in the Coburg area. And
Yeah.
so it's slow to start because the model itself really requires a critical mass of both clientele and producers. So once you get rolling, it takes a little while, it seems, for
Yeah.
that to really reach a nice balance. So it's a little bit of a slow start. And then as you build kind of notoriety and people start to find out about it, then you start to be able to bring more producers in. And so it's been like that in the early phase of the growth curve in Coburg. And then coming along through the winter, it was a bit slower, and now it's picking up again. In part, I think, because the model and its benefits are becoming apparent to people, and then also because of the situation we find ourselves in, and with people having a tricky time getting to other sources of food.
Work. Let's, for those that maybe aren't familiar with Cobra REKO, how does it work? So you're cutting out the middleman, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, there's absolutely, well, that's not true. So there's no middleman. The middleman is Facebook. So what happens is through a Facebook group that anybody can join, an open Facebook group, uh, producers connect with potential clientele. So anybody who's interested in local food, locally produced small farmed food, are able to join this Facebook group. And then each week, the producers will put a Facebook post inside the group that tells what they have available for that week. And then the customers will then check that out, and they'll say in a little message right there in the REKO group on Facebook what it is that they'd be interested in. So for example, if there's a cut of lamb that Brayley Acres is offering in Coburg, and you might want to have lamb for dinner that week, you'll then say to them, look, I want to order this lamb. The price is set in the ad, in the little message ad itself. And so that's a commitment by the customer then to purchase. And so what the producer then can do is just take exactly that order and bring that the following delivery day, or usually within a week. And in Coburg's case, it's Wednesdays evenings. And then they'll meet up. There's a very quick exchange. You've already paid online, you pick up your product, and then you carry on. So it creates a real nice equilibrium between the demand and the production. There's no need for market infrastructure. There's no need for anybody taking cuts anywhere. It's very direct.
Well, and the other thing I like about the whole concept of is, I would think, anyways, that it's going to be a fresher product.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly a possibility. I mean, the products that people are bringing to farmers markets are often very fresh also, but
Mm-hmm.
in this case, it is just that one step closer. Like people will often harvest, if it's in terms of vegetables, they'll harvest the same day. and they'll harvest only precisely what they need. So there's no need for storage. There's no need for losses during delivery. There's no need for unsold merchandise to sit and then have to be dealt with in some way or another. It's just that perfectly calibrated supply and demand, which is really beneficial for both the customers and the producers, because customers don't have to spend time sifting through what they want. They already know. And the producers, it's amazing because they can just bring only just that right amount that they need to.
Yeah, and I would think too that, you know, it's basically what's in season, right? Not trying to grow things that are out of season, so you're getting, that's where I think part of that fresh component comes in too, right? That's
Yeah,
my take on
absolutely.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's totally true. And like from my experience this week at the REKO, there was a couple of people selling the greens that they've been growing, the microgreens and the sprouts. Foragers Farms, based up north near Cold Springs here, near where I am, north of Cobourg, they were bringing their microgreens and their sprouts, which they were growing in their greenhouses. And so that's what's available right now. They're not able to sell any other later season vegetables, of course. So that's what they offer. And so it does definitely tie in with what's available seasonally. And I think a lot of people are interested in that right now. I think people want to know the rhythm of their food is not always going to be the same. It's always changing with each season. Different things are available at different times. And getting used to that relationship is really nice, because it provides that seasonality for the customer, but also it's really, again, beneficial for the producers as well, to be able to sell just what they have on hand. And yeah, absolutely fresh.
Exactly. So
Okay.
tell me, what type of vendors do you have? What can you expect
Yeah.
if you're...
Right now we've got about 8 or 9 vendors at the Cobourg REKO, and they're ranging from meat producers. I mentioned earlier Brayley Acres, based out of Campbellford area. We've got fresh vegetables, Market Garden, based at Cold Springs area. That's Foragers Farms. There's also a bakery. There is a maple syrup producer. There is a number of other, so I think there's a soap maker, and there's going to be other Market Garden sellers there later on in the year. And yeah, basically a full component of just a rounded kind of complement of offerings that you would find at a market garden is pretty much available through the REKO. And it does change week to week. Not all producers are going to be offering everything each week. So that's another reason why it's great, is because it's tailored to what producers have available and what they're able to bring each week. So customers are encouraged to check the ads that go up on the Facebook and see just what's offered. And every week, the admin of the Facebook group, which in this case is Nadia Simard, will post a roundup of all the ads so that it's really easy to click on there and see just who's coming in the week and what they're offering. Because it does, like you say, it is seasonal and it does change.
Yeah, that's excellent. So tell us how Cobourg REKO may or may not have been impacted by today's challenges around COVID-19. Have you guys seen any impact?
Oh yes, absolutely. There's been a huge impact, and in a way it's been positive for the REKO. Of course, it's not positive overall, but there's certain silver linings here. And one of them is that this model, as you know, is a relatively new model, and it's not got widespread notice quite yet. And so people are just learning about it. And so as this COVID situation has unfolded, people have started to look for alternatives to having to go to the grocery store with all the restrictions that are there and the potential exposure that people are concerned about. And also there's been the chance that the farmers markets themselves have been impacted or potentially not able to operate. I think there's still a bit of gray area around that right now. It's going to be yet to be seen exactly how farmers markets play out. So all of these different groups, producers, people who are interested in local food, have all been concerned about where they're going to be getting their food, especially their local, fresh, small farm-based food. And REKO has been around, but now it's just stepped into its own as the perfect model in a sense to fill that gap, because it's very safe. There's no widespread distribution. Things are not being trucked really far, being handled many times. It's really only 2 people handling the food: the person who made it, who grew it in the field, and the person who's buying it. And
Yeah.
even with that, there's pretty detailed and pretty rigorous safety measures in place at the delivery site, which in Cobourg is the Restore parking lot. So there's a social distance being respected. The food is on the table. You pick it up. The money's already changed hands digitally. So all of those have been an impact, but in a way, it's been positive for the idea of REKO, because it's allowed people to come and realize, hey, this is actually a great way to do things.
Yeah, and that it exists even, right? Like, I mean, there's going to be a group of people out there that aren't even aware that it's happening. So it'll bring up more awareness for sure, especially during this time when people are seeking this stuff out, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you've talked a little bit about some of the changes that you've made. Is there anything else? Any other changes that you guys have adapted to the new environment that we're living in? You
Yeah, I
mentioned
mean,
distancing and some of the other stuff.
yeah, so we've definitely made sure that we are following all the relevant guidelines around social distancing. We've been in close communication with the local public health unit and the officials there to make sure that what we're doing is all on the up and up. So we've been coordinating week to week to ensure that we are meeting all the regulations, and as the regulations themselves have been changing at times. So there's been a bit of a dance there, but what we've learned and what the public health has agreed with is that we do constitute an essential service as a food distribution network. And so we're allowed to operate. And as long as we follow those requirements, then everything is good. And so that's what we've been doing. We've got, actually, it's pretty interesting. We've got a hand sanitizer producer potentially coming into the mix for next week. A local distillery, I won't mention who yet because it's not totally confirmed, but local distillery has switched over their production to hand sanitizer, as many distilleries have done. And they're going to be potentially bringing their product through and having that on site. So not only will there be hand sanitizer available, which is hard for people to get these days, but it will be locally produced, craft, boutique hand sanitizer by a local distiller.
I think with all of these changes too, I think we're seeing people turning more to wanting local things, right? Like things, I mean, you know, food and like you're talking about the hand sanitizer and different things like that, because they know where it's come from and where
Yeah.
it's made, and the health regulations, like you've touched on that as well. So I think this is fantastic. Any other positive outcomes that you can think of as a result of your adjustments and how this, you know, our recent situation is sort of changing things and evolving for Cobourg REKO?
Yeah. Well, just based off of what you just said there, it seems like that it does tie into the bigger issue of food security and the availability of local food and the resilience of local food networks. All of us, myself included, and even many small farmers, are still quite wrapped up in and dependent on these wide regional food distribution networks. And that's just kind of the way things have been done for a long time in North America. We depend on grocery stores and we depend on large farms and industrial agriculture to get us our food. And what's really being thrown into sharp relief through the effects of COVID and the sort of side effects of the responses to COVID and all of the kind of closures and restrictions and shutdowns is that the food network has actually been significantly impacted and continues to be more and more impacted, with meat plants closing and markets being restricted. So a model like REKO really steps in at the right moment here to offer not only local food, but in a sense, a greater sense of food security, because there's nothing other than the producers themselves in the mix. So it's very direct. You know who you're supporting, you know you're supporting your local economy, and you're also ensuring the future ability for your local town and community to be able to feed itself, which I think is, you know, people are realizing more and more crucially important now.
For
So I think
sure.
REKO offers kind of the best of all worlds in that case.
Yeah, for sure. I agree 100%. So I want to say thank you so much, Josh. I don't know if there's any final things that you want to add to before we end our show here, but I thank you so much for coming on today and sharing a wealth of information and being part of today's show.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Jennifer. We really appreciate it. We're happy to spread the word as much as we can. Just go on the Facebook page, search, if you use your search function, Cobourg REKO Network. And yeah, it should be pretty self-evident. If you don't have Facebook, you can join just for this.
Yeah. No, I've been on the Facebook. It's pretty easy to navigate through there, and actually have been dialoguing with a couple of different people on there about their products, and it's been quite simple and quite easy actually to navigate.
Yeah, streamlined. That's what we hope for. So yeah, we look forward to getting anybody who's interested on board, and we look forward to carrying on. And thank you for the exposure.
So one last thing. So if they don't have
Okay.
Facebook, what was the alternative to placing an
Oh, in fact, that's one of the things that we have to find another way. right now it is based on Facebook. Facebook is the platform that REKO functions on, and that's how it's been in where it started in Scandinavia, and that's what we're working with now. We are looking into possible alternatives. Facebook is there's a critical mass of people who do have it, and so people who don't have it, it is a bit of a drawback for that. But I think we are looking into alternatives, and we feel that we do reach most people through the platform of Facebook at this time.
All right, excellent. Okay, thanks so much. Have yourself a wonderful day.
Yeah, thank you. You as well. Bye-bye.
Follow, like, Cobourg REKO Network.